use a project clarifier and opportunity breakthrough as a worksheet to help you write your book. In this educational episode, I'm revealing secret number 7 out of 8 secrets that I'm disclosing on how to author a best-selling book using only about 40 hours or less of your time, because I have done it numerous times with the 12 books that I've published thus far. Get ready to take notes so that you can implement the ideas in this secret. So I'm Doug Andrew, and I've been very blessed and honored in my 50 years of helping people optimize assets and minimize taxes, primarily as a financial strategist, to have authored 12 books. All of them have been bestsellers. Half of them have been digital books. I don't even have to inventory the books in a warehouse. When I published my first few books, I built a 10,000 square foot warehouse that would hold 20 semi-loads of books. In this day and age, I can print 10 to 15,000 books every 4 or 5 months of this one and send them out. And I can do my own fulfillment, but about half of them are downloaded digitally. In this society we live in, a lot of people now, they want to listen and learn, watch and learn, or they do not really need the hard copy. But there's enough old geezers like me, I'm 70, they still like to have a book in their hand. And so I still, with my bestsellers, I will inventory some of those, but I don't need to inventory 100,000 anymore like I used to. I can print 10,000 at a time, or you can print 500 at a time, which I understand a lot of quick publishers, they only print 500 on-demand copies. So the book industry has been totally transformed in the last couple of decades since I started writing books. So this series is revealing 8 secrets, and this is number 7 of the 8 secrets. If you haven't watched the first 6 secrets, it would behoove you to have those in your brain first before just jumping into this one, even though they can be watched out of order. But these 2 worksheets are ones that are copyrighted that I designed myself. If you listen close, you could do this yourself, or if you're interested and you want to be able to have access to some of the worksheets I've had designed and developed, then you can contact us and you can purchase some of these templates that I'm going to be referring to here. But if you take real good notes, you can design your own worksheet. Sometimes when you design your own, you'll use it better because you think differently than I do. I designed these because of the way I think, okay? So I'm referring to 2 worksheets here that I developed to help me write books. One is called the Project Clarifier, and the other one is called the Opportunity Break. And you notice break is in caps because it's an acronym that I'm going to share with you. And this is very critical in order to write a book in less than 40 hours. I use these 2 worksheets usually before I even start dictating the book, but especially when I come down the home stretch, I'll go through and make sure that these are all checked off once I've completed the book. I remember when my 2 sons and we co-authored our first book. It's called Millionaire by 30. And it was very laborious. Once we had spit out the book, we dictated each of the 12 chapters in 2 hours from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Monday mornings with our writer in New York. And then she would send us the transcript and her writing of that. Because I say you don't have to be a writer to be an author. She would send it to us on Friday, and we would spend an hour going through and tweaking it on Monday. And then we would dictate the next chapter in 2 hours. And we dictated 12 chapters using 3 hours on Monday mornings for 12 weeks. But then we went through these worksheets to tweak and make sure the book was ready to go. Okay? So you can use it on the front end and or the back end. So here's the project clarifier that I developed when I go through a book. This clarifies my project, which is to write a book. You can do this with any project. And so, I have a space up here where you write your name and the date. So the project focus, this would be your book. So you put down the book, briefly describe the project. And so in this case, you would be writing down the book that you're going to be authoring. Again, I'm not saying writing, because you don't have to be a writer to be an author. You put down the book. Now, in the secret number 2 and 3, I talked about the VODA and success formula. And secret number 3, I went through this success checklist, and you're going to notice the same success acronym here, S.u.c.c.e.s.s. Now, what I've done is divided this form into the top half and the bottom half so that you can sort of listen to me and take notes, and maybe you can zoom in and see what I'm talking about here, but listen more than watch. So once I put down the title of the book, in this box, very succinctly, I write down, what is your vision of the best outcome? Okay. So I write down what is the vision of the best outcome. Now, my third book, it was to become a New York Times, Wall Street Journal bestseller. And that it would become not only a bestseller, but many financial advisors would buy cases of these books to pass out to their clients, because it was helping to educate their clients in ways that they couldn't do it, and so forth. So whatever your vision is of the best outcome, that you're going to use it in your profession for your own patients or your own clients, your own customers, or whether you're using it to empower other people in your profession to use your book to educate their patients, clients, customers, or what have you. Yeah, so you get that very succinct in the first box. The next box is what existing barriers need to be overcome. So you're identifying the existing barriers, that maybe it's time constraints, maybe it's money, maybe it's because you just don't like to write or whatever. So you've got to get an editor. You've got to get somebody to come and listen to you present, as I explained in secret number 6, okay? So what existing barriers need to be overcome is in that box. The third box down on the left-hand side is, how will this project transform your current situation? Now, if it's not going to transform your current situation, why are you doing it? You've got to get super clear on, how is this going to transform? Well, like my very first book, when it sat on my credenza for 10 years, when I finally tweaked just chapter 17, and I made it into a hard copy book and an ebook, both, and I started giving it to my clients at the end of the first appointment before they came back for the second appointment. And then what I do, the first appointment, I was finding out what their assets were and what their goals were financially, where they were at and where they wanted to go. The second appointment was showing them, if they were to reposition assets, how much better off they would be down the road and not outlive their money, and how much more money they would have if they followed my advice. And so rather than start down here and have to teach them about why I was recommending what I was recommending, I would give them chapter 17, and then we would start right off the bat with their numbers, because they already understood why it's tax-free and how it works and why you have caps and why is it linked to the market and so forth. And so all that was already taken care of, so I didn't have to spoon feed them. It saved me tons of time. So this may be, well, it's going to save me a ton of time when, let's say you're a personal trainer, or you're helping people with weight loss or exercise or whatever. See, if they come in and because they've already read your book, they already understand your philosophy and what you're going to be doing and how you're going to be telling them exactly how many calories to eat and the diet and so forth. If they already understand the basics, it saves you a ton of time, because they've read your book, and it's going to transform your practice by saving you time, and it gives you credibility. Let me just share with you. I haven't mentioned this in the other secrets, but I worked very, very hard to not only have all of my books become bestsellers, but I created the market for that, which I shared in a previous secret. But also, when I had a New York Times, Wall Street Journal #1 bestseller, guess what? In my long resume, my bio, whenever I am invited to speak, I have a bio that's 1 page long. I have one that's 1 paragraph long, but sometimes when they're introducing me to speak, they want 1 sentence. And out of all of an entire page of all of the tens of thousands of clients that I've helped optimize assets and I've made millionaires or whatever, guess what? Guess what they always choose? Doug Andrew is a New York Times best-selling author. That's what they choose. That establishes credibility like that. And so when you're an author, you're an authority. That's what the word author means. You're an authority on a subject. So if you're wondering, do I really want to author a book? I would say yes, because you establish credibility, because out of all of the various accomplishments, I can guarantee you, when people are introducing you and they can only choose one sentence or a few accomplishments, they will pick so-and-so. Jim is an author of the book or of the books, And that's what they're going to choose, because people will immediately respect you as an authority if you're an author on that topic. Does that make sense? It's worth getting at least one book published so that you're an authority. You establish immediate credibility. So that's the transformation that you may want to fill out down here. It will save you time. It will establish you as an authority and build credibility. So those are the first three boxes. Okay. Now, you over here begin to fill out the success formula, and I'll show you the bottom of the left half next. But on the top half, you begin to go through this success checklist. The first S is simple and short. What is the overriding principle that will drive this project? So you're using the same success formula for the project. What is the overriding principle that's going to drive this project? Keep it simple and short so it's very clear in your mind. The U is to understand. Here, whom does this project benefit? Remember, it's about them. It's not about you. It's about them. It's about your reader. It's about your client, your audience. The first of the middle C's is clarify. Here, it's a little bit different than on the success formula for the chapters. So clarify what needs to be true when the project comes to fruition to alleviate or in order to help the reader feel empowered. So you have to clarify that in the project so that you know exactly what you're trying to accomplish. And then the next C is concrete, which is one of the C's in the success formula for writing a chapter. So give real life examples in the book of how this applies in practical terms so that they can get their arms or their brain around it. So you write these things down so that they are super clear in your head. Now, the bottom half of the form on the left-hand side, and then we'll come back and finish the word success, list specific results that need to be realized when the project is completed. What I do is I write down at least three, the top three things that need to be true when the book is done, okay? The specific results that it's going to save me time, energy, and money from having to spoon feed information to people, that it's going to be a bestseller, that other professionals are going to pay for my wisdom and buy my books to pass out to their clients, customers, patients. The third one is that it will become a bestseller, and pretty soon I'm going to be invited to give speeches, addresses at conferences and be a keynote, and it's going to take my speaking career through the roof, okay? Whatever it is, write down the top three benefits that you want to achieve by getting this book published and done. And for me, it's a bird dogging tool. It points. It finds and cultivates the right fit clients that when they get through reading the book, 1 out of 20 who read the book become a client, okay? And so we have already proven that model. Let's finish the acronym success on the project clarifier. The E is emotional. Does everyone feel involved or on board? So here, emotional is I want to make sure that my writer, my editor, my graphic artist, my illustrator, my marketing person who's building the book funnel and going to be marketing, I want to make sure everybody is on board with the vision, the impact that this book will have so that we're all on the same page. In fact, we actually fill out an impact filter, but they get a copy of this project clarifier so that they don't go, well, now what's this book about or whatever. I want everybody in the room to understand what this is all about and what these benefits are. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. They can't read your mind. You have to explain what it is you're trying to accomplish. The first S of the last two S's in the word success is substance. What makes this relevant? Able to provide greater clarity, confidence, and capability. So you've got to have substance. It can't be abstract. You've got to be able to make sure everybody, especially the reader, can get hold of it and have confidence that they can do this. And so the last S in this word is synergism. So who will take ownership in the project and utilize their unique abilities? As I revealed in secret number 6, I simply spit it out. I simply say it. I have writers that are in the room. I have blog writers, article writers from me spitting out radio show segments. They take that and they test it, and then they form it into the blogs and articles, and then they take the best blogs and articles and form it into an ebook. We test that, and then we go, we need to write a book about this ebook because it's been downloaded like crazy. So that's a signal we need to write a book about this. That's the synergism of everybody that surrounds you. You don't have to do all of that. It's the highest and best use of your time to just come up with the ideas. I come up with the ideas, okay? I have a project manager that makes my ideas real. And then I have process managers that make the ideas recur. Okay, so process managers make sure that the processes are taken care of and the book funnel is working and books are being shipped out and this is going on and everything. The project manager is taking and making sure the project comes to fruition. And so I come up with the ideas, the project manager makes them real, and my process managers make them recur on a predictable basis. Now, what I just said maybe went over your head, but that will save you a ton of time, energy, and money. So if you want to see sort of how this all comes to fruition, in this series, I have talked a lot about these different worksheets. The other one I mentioned in this particular secret is the opportunity breakthrough. Now, it may seem a little bit redundant, but frankly, I rethink my thinking many different ways. So the opportunity breakthrough, again, is one of my worksheets. It spells the acronym BREAK. And so this is an example of the sheet when I'm going to be writing a book. The B in break stands for barriers. I want to make absolutely sure I list the barriers and I circle the top 3. What are the 3 big obstacles, barriers, roadblocks, or hindrances that we have to overcome to get this book finished, okay, to get this book written and published? The R under break is what resources, what are the skills, who do I need? I need maybe a writer, an editor, a graphic artist, And so what are the resources that I'm going to harness in order to make this book come to fruition? And I get very clear who the team is going to be. The E under break is experiences. What experiences am I going to draw from? Or what experiences do I need to have in order to make sure that this will come to the greatest success level we possibly can? So the experiences that I'm going to draw from are other people or other authors, and the experiences that I need to create if I need to share in my book about how I overcame this, I better have an experience or a story of how I did it or the experiences of other people. Does that make sense? The A in break is action. You got to get super clear on the specific steps that need to be taken to make sure the book comes to fruition. And then the K is knowledge, okay? What knowledge do I need to draw from myself, from others, or what knowledge do I need to obtain in order to get this book finished? Maybe it's learning about book funnels. Or how to market a book, or how to use social media, or how to be able to illustrate my points using graphics and charts, and how to use metaphors, sticky metaphors, so that I can add 1, 2, or 3 in every chapter. It's whatever knowledge you need to obtain. So that's BREAK, barriers, resources, experiences, action, and knowledge. And when you get done, you circle the top 3 and you re-articulate them over on the right. The number 1 barrier to overcome, number 2 barrier, number 3, because the human brain can get its arms, so to speak, around a list of 3 things. The top 3 barriers to overcome, the top 3 resources, the top 3 experiences, the top 3 actions, and the top 3 knowledge resources, the knowledge you need to obtain. When you fill out that 1 sheet of paper, all of a sudden your brain is super clear. That will help you break through on this opportunity to get your book done and make sure it's done right. Just take the time to do this. It saves you time. It doesn't take time. It actually saves time when you use these kinds of thinking tools, okay? So develop your own. These are mine. I would not even think about writing a book without going through this thinking process. So if you want to download a copy of one of my books, I'll fire out a free copy to you. You do need to contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling or processing. My book to entrepreneurs is called The 10 Keys Transformation, how I went from 10 times my income from $500,000 a year to over $5 million a year in less than 60 months while simplifying my life. That's called The 10 Keys Transformation. You can get a free copy by going to free10keysbook.com. If you want to get a copy of one of my financial books, I'd recommend this one. This is The Left Brain, Right Brain Side, 2 books in 1. And you go to laserfund.com. You contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I'll send out a copy of this to you. You can see how these formulas work. This is a good one called Entitlement Abolition, a bestseller, one of my favorites. Go to entitlementabolitionbook.com. And also contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. And I'll fire out a copy of this one to you. But this is not about me, this is about you. If you're an author, if you're an authority, in other words, and you have a book in you, don't get caught up in trying to have to be the writer. You can use all of these secrets to get published because you're already an authority on the subject. That's what this is all about.